Hello folks, this week's studio vlog is not really a studio vlog, it's more of a digital nomad vlog because I spent a few days in Sydney and did a bit of work from there and did a bit of an explore. So this vlog is that, and I didn't actually do a great deal of talking to the camera, at least later in the video, so I will sort of fill in a bit of commentary on what I was up to, and yeah, hopefully that makes it interesting and gives you a little bit more context. So let's get started. One of the things that I really take note of when I go to a new place, and probably people think I'm crazy because I'm photographing the weirdest stuff, is the variety of plant life and wildlife that is different to where I'm from. Particularly plants. There are some weird plants here, and I know that Australia is renowned for its very diverse plant life and wildlife. So yeah, there are these birds around there. They're called ibises. The first time I saw one of these, I thought, what are these things? So I immediately took pictures of them next to the road, and then I realised that they are literally everywhere. I have been out and I went to a camera shop and had a wander around a park, which was very nice. But yeah, I wanted to go to the camera shop because I didn't have a travel tripod. The one I've got at home in my studio is very big and clunky. It belongs to my dad, and it's not something you want to take anywhere, let alone on an overseas trip. So I got this one here, which folds up into this nice little bag. It fits in my suitcase, and it's pretty lightweight. And while I was there at a camera shop, because camera shops seem to be a dying breed, at least where I live, and I wanted to get some advice, I got this little thing, which is a remote, which clips up to this thing here. So it's a remote, which means that I can take pictures from a distance. This has long been an issue with my camera, in that it doesn't have an autofocus, so if I hold my hand up here, it won't focus on it or anything like that. So as you can see here, I'm not in focus, but if I point this at it and hold the trigger down, it will focus on my face, which is going to make a massive difference to videos going forward, and a lot less frustration, and also for any self-portraits. So I can click this and turn it off, and I can take a nice picture, or a not so nice picture. Now that's out of the way, we are gonna go in town, a bit of an explore. I think the art gallery and the Botanical Gardens. So after the whole camera shop thing, which was very exciting and great to have some new gear, which will make my life and making these videos a lot easier, I went to the National Gallery, and I didn't actually take my camera to this, I just took my phone and did a bit of an explore. The first painting I found was of Milford Sound, which is actually in New Zealand. The artist did a bunch of sketches in Milford Sound and then took them back to his studio in Australia, where he finished them off. One of my favourite paintings I found was this gorgeous painting of Helen of Troy, and I think the main reason I loved this is how much detail has been put into her gown, her cloak and her jewellery. There's a lot going on there. I think it's something that I might look to incorporate into my own work. Very, very beautiful. This was in the pre-Raphaelite section, and oh, there were so many beautiful paintings in this section. I have a real soft spot for the pre-Raphaelites, and I think that comes across in some of my work, a lot of detail, and that's something they do a lot of as well. And yeah, I love all the nature and the textures and the use of colour. All of it is just fantastic. Then I found this huge sculpture of a man battling with a snake. It was, yeah, very big for one thing, but again, the detail was incredible. So you could see every single scale on the snake, and I'm always so impressed by sculptures that managed to make stone look like human skin, and all the musculature underneath. Then I went to lunch and met a very friendly rainbow parakeet. I think it's a parakeet, but yes, he or she was very friendly. And as you would expect, the contemporary art was weird and wonderful. There was a Jeff Koons sculpture piece which looks like it's come out of a very strange children's playground. And I had a look at some of the Aboriginal artwork, which was from various stages of history, which was very cool. And yeah, I really like this painting as well. Next up, I went around the Botanic Gardens. Another one of my favourite things to do in a new city, and there was lots of interesting plant life, but most excitingly, there was a whole bunch of bird life. Namely, a flock of cockatoos just hanging around and eating nuts or seeds from this tree. And as I wandered around, I saw some weird and wonderful sculptures as well. And we'll come back to those a little bit later because they're actually light installations. Yeah, the Botanical Gardens were very nice. At 6 o'clock, they turned on the lights for Vivid, which is a light show that is going on in Sydney at the moment. The Opera House was all lit up with jellyfish. The Harbour Bridge was lit up. And then as I walked back through the Botanical Gardens, there were lots of installations that you could interact with. So they reacted to voice or touch or movement. There were these very funny little twirly things that looked like, I don't know, little fairies or something in the grass, and there was a whole meadow of them. I went across to Darling Harbour where there is a little wildlife park, and I heard they had wombats. Right, it's now about 12:30 and I'm going to go and find a wombat. So I went looking for one, and I did indeed find a wombat. The wombat was very, very sleepy. So it didn't do much more than flick its ear, but it was very cute, and I got to see a lot of other very interesting animals, and I got sniffed by a joey, a baby kangaroo, which was pretty cool. They had a crocodile, and they had a bunch of snakes, as well as a bunch of koala. I don't know if that's the collective noun for koala, probably not. But I did enjoy seeing those as well. But the wombat was the thing that I really wanted to see. I blame Lucy Daniels, you know those animal arc books. There was one called Wombats in the Wild, and it was my favourite one. While I was over in that part of Sydney, I also visited the aquarium where they had lots of amazing sea life. Lots of fish that you would find on the Great Barrier Reef, including clownfish. I was very excited to learn that they had a dugong, which I can't say correctly, a dugong, which is a sea mammal. It's not a whale, but it's a little bit like a whale. I think of it as a cross between a whale and a seal, but that's probably not very accurate. I also got to see some penguins, which was pretty cool. Literally pretty cool, because we went on a little boat thing that went around the penguin enclosure, and that was quite cold, as you would expect, because there was snow and there were penguins. And finally, I got to see some jellyfish and some phosphorescent coral, which was very cool. It was like that scene in Moana where they go down into the layer of monsters, or what's it called? The something of monsters. I spent some time drawing in the morning, so I will switch over to my past self where you can see what I was up to there. I finally managed to post this one today on Instagram, which is going to be a scarf. It's the Artemis design, or it's adapted from the Artemis book design. Likewise, we have a Persephone one with the pomegranates. This is what I'm working on now, is I'm doing a long scarf design, which is going to be the Phoenix design. So I've put it on one layer here, and then I'm just tracing over it. And obviously I'm going to have to adapt it because this is a lot longer, but I'm thinking of some things to add in down here and up the top. Finally, I've been working on a tea themed one because I love tea, and I think tea is something that goes well with books. I'll just hide this layer underneath. So yeah, it's kind of looking like this. Obviously I'll add some colour to this one too. So that's what I've been up to this morning, and while I've been here in Sydney, I find it quite exhausting to be out and about all the time. So I've been combining that with spending some time here and getting some work done. I'm off now very shortly to meet up with Mark Campbell, who is an art director at HarperCollins. I have worked with him in the past and also interviewed him for Spy magazine, and he's the president of ABDA. So yeah, he said, "I'll come and meet for coffee," and yeah, before I head off tomorrow, so that's all very good. Finally, I had another wander around the Botanical Gardens. This time went over to Mrs. Macquarie's chair, which is over the other side of the Botanical Gardens, and had a beautiful view of Sydney Harbour Bridge and Opera House as the sun went down. So that was my trip to Sydney. I probably didn't need to be there for quite as long as I was, but it was very lovely to get to see some of the Australian wildlife and have a bit of an explore. My studio vlogs will be back to normal next week, and I'm hoping that some samples might arrive for these scarves and new products that I am bringing into my shop. So fingers crossed, if it's not next week, it should be the following week. Once I've seen those samples, I will know which fabric I want to go for with the scarves, and I will order some more samples of different designs as well as the notebooks. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the slightly different kind of studio vlog, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!